KOGI Principles presents The Council. Please be advised that The Council is an immersive audio experience based on the written novel, The Council. Be advised, certain sounds may seem to be coming from the sides or behind you. Not to worry, it's all a part of the immersive experience. Listener's discretion is advised as this content contains certain adult language and mature themes. Be advised and enjoy. Hello, listeners. I am Shanel. I'm here today interviewing cast from the podcast, The Council. And today we have a very special guest. We are going to speak with Charles Price, the author, and he also plays Reagor.
Reagor, yeah.
Reagor,
yeah.
So, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
I'm well. So, I want to ask you a couple of questions about the project, the podcast, the book, and all those in between.
All right.
So the first question I want to ask you is, what was your inspiration? How did you get all this together?
Let me try to think about this. So, in our recent history and times, there's been a lot of conflict, a lot of racial turmoil that's resurfaced, most of it very justifiable, because especially living in America, there's a lot of wounds that have not healed. There's a lot of issues that have not been resolved in a manner, I believe, that can allow a lot of us to progress further. And some of the, I just kind of took it as an opportunity, something that was on my heart to say, hey, this can be something that can be beneficial to the conversation. This can be something that can offer as a tool of restoration, as a tool of allowing people to see the empathy, to try to grow empathy in people, to also to try to encourage people that are from the Black side to kind of re-engage with their history from a standpoint that is very encouraging, that's very useful for them, that's in a light that can be uplifting to strengthen the community, if I'm being honest, the Black community. So that's kind of like where my heart was with this and writing it, and then now converting it into this podcast and offering it to people. So that's kind of a little bit of it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And when you think about sharing our history, which is a rich history full of triumph, it's full of pain, it's full of love, it's full of joy, everything you can imagine, we have that in our history. So I want you to think about, what are some of the joys and pains of being Black?
Ooh, that's a deep one right there. I think the joys is just, for me, of being Black. I love my color. I love my complexion, and it's just, I'm like, hey, this is awesome. I think that was bred in me from a young age, because even my mom, she was like, hey, she used to call us handsome and, y'all look good. And, she also made sure that we had a standard of upkeep about ourselves, which just made no, because I am worthy of brushing my hair today. Like I need to go out and look my best. So I should look my best, because the best me is a great me to be. And my color enhances that, and so and the unique thing about being Black in America, especially, our color and our culture is very much entwined, there's no separation of that. And so I love the rich history of music, because I've played instruments and play instruments myself. I love the triumph story. Everyone likes a hero. Everyone likes someone to go, unfortunately, go through something and watch them come out on the other end better for it, conquer the mountains, beat all those situations they've gone through. And just so much in our history is a lot of that. But even prior to that, there was just a lot of accomplishments we've made in the world, in the known world, that gets overlooked. And there's a lack of connection to knowing, our history didn't start in shackles. Our history didn't start, of us just being beaten. There was a lot of kings and queens. There was a lot of people that contributed to the world in a way that they were actually known for their accomplishments, because they, at that time in society, race didn't play necessarily a role into it, depending on your skin complexion. So, but the pains of being Black is, it's hard to know that you can confront situations solely because you're Black. And that's a hard thing to wrap your mind around, especially when you're young, especially when you're a child. Like myself, my first interaction of racism was when I was in third grade. My teacher was failing me because I was black. And like my parents had a meeting with her and the principal, and she got so outraged, she called me the N-word in front of my parents. And it was a situation. I'm sitting in there like, oh, this is a thing. You're legit failing me because I am black, and how that came out.
I'm going to cut in real quick. Charles is not that old.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm not that old. I'm still chilling. You know, I'm still young and spry, but still, it was just the fact that that's my first interaction of witnessing my color coming into play on someone harming me was very hard, because at the end of the day, that's nothing I can change, nor it's something I want to change. And so just reconciling that thought. And I think that's something that a lot of Black people deal with, is like trying to outplay a stigma about themselves, but then at the same time, that being about them, like, you know, just case in point, like, I like fried chicken. Like, but just being right, I like fried chicken and cornbread and, you know, throwing some greens. But, you know, that could be a stigma. But at the same time, there's something wrong with you if you don't find that delicious. So it's just a thing about me. So that's just a little bit of the pain aspect, I would say. That's hard.
I like what you said about the stigma, and I too like fried chicken and watermelon and a lot of, not everything. I'm not a pig feet chitlin type person.
Oh, no.
But I like all the other stuff. So listeners, you cannot see me right now, but I have on a melanin sweatshirt with all the different shades. I have a black head wrap on. I'm pretty much showing cultural pride today. And I feel like that's a big thing that has been happening now. You can find a lot of the clothes in the stores, on the street, just showing pride, expressing pride. And there are a lot of cultures who feel some kind of way about it, right? They'll say stuff like, oh, well, you can wear that shirt, but if I wore a shirt like that with my culture, then it would mean something. Like, how do you feel about that? Or how do you express that?
It's a tight space. It's a space that's really weird, because on the one hand, there is a bit of empathy for them in the sense that, yeah, you're right. But at the same time, I had to live with stigmas too. So yeah, you can't wear that. Don't dare wear that, you know, and I mean, you got to learn how to deal with that, just how I had to learn how to deal with situations. And I don't think that there's anything wrong in showing pride of your color, of your race, because we see everyone have pride in different areas. I would almost challenge those people, hey, find a different level of pride in something that doesn't have a harmful history attached to it. You know, many times, like, people can try to be combative in a way and trying to say like, oh, you shouldn't wear that because I can't wear this. And it's like, does this really offend you, or are you just trying to pick a fight? I do love, like, you know, how people are expressing their blackness a lot more. I do enjoy how people can have a sense of pride. And if that gives them a sense of pride, that's a great place to be, because pride is the way to be, you know, to be. But at the same time, I will just caveat to say, like, I would not lean into arrogance though in that way, because there are some people that will take it a little too extreme, but for the most part, everyone handles it in a well way. So that's kind of what I would offer.
Yeah, I was thinking about it because I have had people ask me the question before, and I say that this is education for you, because I've always known this is beautiful, but you didn't. So I'm trying to show you that it is beautiful, and it's a way that I want to spread history and help it connect to others. So that's my next question for you. How can we spread our history, and not only spread it, but help it connect?
Hey listeners, how you doing today? This is Charles Price. I am the author of The Council and also the producer of this podcast, The Council series, this audio experience. I just wanted to take the time out to thank you for joining us on this podcast adventure. It's been a wild ride, and I wouldn't trade it for the world, because it gave us this opportunity to create this content for you. I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you're enjoying this behind the scenes bonus episode where you get to hear from the actors themselves and hear some questions about Black history, about what it means to them and why they chose this content. If you could, please share this out with someone that you love, a friend of yours, family member, hey, just a friend on the bus, whoever you can. Share this out because we want to make this a global experience. If you can visit our website, www.counselseries.com, where you can purchase your very own copy of The Counsel. All of this would be helpful for us. We'll be able to go forward, create more content where you get to hear more Black stories, artistic stories that have resilience in it, that have triumph, that have lessons, that have knowledge for everyone to learn from what we have to offer in the Black culture. And so I just wanted to share this out. Thank you again for listening. I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Shanel, where you can jump back into this bonus episode.
I say that this is education for you because I've always known this is beautiful, but you didn't. So I'm trying to show you that it is beautiful, and it's a way that I want to spread history and help it connect to others. So that's my next question for you. How can we spread our history and not only spread it, but help it connect to not just future generations of African Americans, but to people as a whole? Because I think the connection to the people as a whole, that's the main goal to me. So how do you think we can spread it and make it connect?
I do agree. I agree with you in that sentiment that it should be a connection as a whole. And if you look at a lot of our leaders from the past, from, you look at Gabriel Presser, you look at Frederick Douglass, you look at Sojourner Truth, you look at a lot of these and the people that we don't know, because there's a lot of other people that started things that the key identifier I noticed in them is that they were able to recognize the situation that they were in, what's going to bring this group together to be respected against this other group, not to take away from the other group, but to say, hey, I demand the level of humanity and respect the same level that you do. I'm not going to threaten yours, just not like you should not take mine away from me. And I think that will play a role in helping us being better about that, spreading the history better, of saying I'm by highlighting mine in this moment in time is not going to take away from yours. Let's actually find areas of common ground. Let's actually find areas where you can feel included in this conversation, just how I can feel included. And let's find areas of peace. A group that I think would be interesting to learn from is, or at least the same sentiment Black people are trying to have is, the Jewish community. They have gone through traumatic things that were very reprehensible. But they share that with their community. They share that because their people have endured and they've gone through and they're better for it on the other side. And they take it from a perspective of these are the shoulders that you're standing on. And then the world has respected that fact. I think the Black community is asking for the same thing of, hey, the Black Americans have suffered and endured certain situations through history. And we would like the opportunity to say, we are being prideful about that. Respect the fact that it's from a prideful place of being prideful of where we're coming from. And we would like to re-ingratiate ourselves in a more healthy and holistic way, more than saying, looking at us rising up or being with our chests out and being like, oh, they're combative now. It's like, it's not that tight.
Yeah. Okay. I have one last question for you.
Yeah.
What imprint do you want this story to leave on the audience?
I want people to find an opportunity to search their heart. I want the story to allow people to say, hey, I may not be Black myself. I'm going to start with that. I may not be Black myself. And these may be my people in this story as the antagonizer. What changed their heart to act like that? And what can I do to make sure my heart does not ingratiate those things so it dictates, so it can influence my actions? And I can take that with me and I can see these people and other people with a sense of pride and honor and just see them just like I see myself. I want that to have an impactful way. I want Black people and especially Black kids today, because it was so influential for me to read about my history that is known and research more history that I do not know and see that these people have endured something that I could never imagine nor even know. I don't know what it's like to just be scared to walk down the street. Like that is really heavy to know. Like you can walk into a town and you can get side eyes nowadays and stuff, but you can keep it pushing, whatever, it's more subtle in a lot of ways now. But to have the overt, oh, there's a Black person here, we must do something about this, is a very different thing. And I try to take from those individuals and see what can I ingratiate in my life to be more than just my color. So that's kind of like mine.
Thank you. Well, that's all the time we have today.
Awesome.
So thank you for taking the time to have this interview with me. Thank you for speaking to the listeners. And thank you, listeners out there. Stay tuned for the next episode. You have just listened to another episode of The Council. Tune in next time for an all-new episode. KOGI Principle presents The Council. Story written, directed, produced, and edited by Charles Price. Thank you for listening. And if you can't get enough of The Council, please visit www.councilseries.com to purchase your very own copy. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends, family, and a random person.